Hey you guys, so this is going to be a mix of an astro weather report and a bit of a vlog, if you might allow me to be a human being today, which is kind of why I would like to be a human being today, because I've been feeling some feels with all of, I guess, the type of traction or traffic or whatever you'd call it I've been getting on the new YouTube page and even some of my most recent astrology videos on TikTok. And I feel like it also kind of feeds into the Patreon and the way I manage it, and maybe not a lack of inspiration for what's been going on the page, but maybe just feeling like I'm not really sure where I am with it, right? So the astro report, I'm gonna keep it pretty high level because here's the thing. What I keep running into sometimes is that I'm not really sure what people are looking to identify with, because sometimes I'm like, okay, here are the themes, here's what you look for, here's what to be wary of, here's what you might notice, and then there's not maybe much engagement, which I will say, that's not pressure to engage every time you read something. One of the most beautiful things about the Patreon is that you are already showing me that you value me by being a patron, right? Like, I'm not saying that like I want you to feel compelled to like log in, because I know like a lot of people just open the email and read it from the email, so I know that, right? But it's kind of like when it's kind of radio silent and nobody asks questions or nobody sends content requests, because I used to get those pretty frequently, like, hey, can you talk about X, Y, and Z? It's kind of like, oh man, like maybe I'm not targeting what people value, which to some degree, thank you for letting me run it as I see fit, because it is my content and I don't ever want to get to the place where I feel like I'm making something that I hate or that I'm not passionate about, which that was kind of why I'm like, let's talk about more technical and everyday uses of the natal chart versus just giving you some high level, what felt like glib horoscope readings for every new and full moon. Because it's like, if you enjoy those, great. Maybe we can definitely go back to that. But it just kind of felt like when you're in a position where you only have like 1 to 3 minutes to talk about somebody's high level rising sign without even really knowing what else is happening in their chart. I don't know. It didn't feel impactful, and so I was starting to feel kind of like hollow and like shallow. Maybe that's the word. Like, I don't feel like I'm giving a positive impact, but maybe it's not about that for some patrons. Maybe it is, I just feel really entertained whenever I see a horoscope and it affirms me or it cautions me. So if that's it. But like from my point of view, I'm like, wouldn't it be more valuable for them if I taught them like, hey, if you're looking to schedule a date or trying to figure out when to launch a business, you can look at what's happening in the sky and when certain good things are activating your chart. Like, so I'm like, okay, I should just do more things about how to teach them how to use astrology. But maybe it's like, Kady, we did not come here to think and learn. Just tell us when we need to go, which is fun. You know what I mean? Like, that's fine. And so like, because it's like a lot quieter and it is like a smaller community now, which is why I hope this will work, because before we were at like 100, and then I think at most I had like 120, and now I think we have like 50 subscribers. It's a smaller community now, which might be also why it's quieter. But like, when I give you the astro report, you can DM me however you want to. Can you tell me like what you want to know about this new moon or all of that or whatever? Because also I have the capacity to do it, because natal chart reading requests are down, very understimulated. Like, requests are down for personal charts, whatever. But like, as I'm creating more content to put in more places, because I'm on YouTube now. I try to do a premiere every Friday. I want to make sure that this community is valuable, and also like, it doesn't have to just be astrology. I know I talked about like doing spiritual stuff here, but I think also because most people initially join for astrology, the spiritual content doesn't really translate, or maybe I'm not tapping into the aspects of spirituality that matter for you. Like, I just released my new manifestation book, which is really like not just a book about manifesting. It's a book about like how I like really transmuted my trauma, like came from this really dark place. For those of you who don't know, like I was in an abusive relationship in 2019, and then spent most of 2020 with PTSD from that. But not only that, but like was really like shamed by the community because this man was like a notable person in the community, and like it was just a rough time. And like the trial was delayed because of COVID. So he was like free in the world while knowing that I was pressing charges against him, which you can imagine the type of issues that caused for me to be able to just like feel safe in society. I had to like leave my home and move somewhere else, where people didn't know my address. And then of course COVID, because I got laid off because of COVID and was unemployed. It was a year, man. So like I had a lot of emotional and trauma energy going on. And 2021 was like really the beginning of me trying to reclaim my life, which is kind of why I started talking about astrology on the internet in the first place. Because I want to say the first astrology video I ever made was me talking about how Neptune and Venus aspects can create kind of depression sometimes in people, and just wanted to share this thing that I was really fascinated about in my own chart, and people liked it and people wanted to know more. And as people asked questions, I kept making the videos, and here we are, right? So it's like that book covers like that span of time really, and just what I learned, and how, you know, the situation that was like the worst, not the worst, but a pretty bad situation in my life became kind of the catalyst for a business. You know, like I'm an entertainer. So like there's things like I thought maybe one day I would be on a label, a full-time songwriter for a publisher. Because if you don't know, I'm also a singer and a songwriter. I've written tracks for like Janelle Monáe, and I've worked with the guy who's produces for Kady and Drake. So like I write in these spaces. I went to Berklee, so like it's a bit of like school nepotism that I have these opportunities, but I'm really thankful for them. But so I was like, maybe I'll be at a publisher, but I don't think I ever thought my career trajectory, or even just like a full-time marketer, because my day job was working at a marketing firm, because songwriting was not paying the bills. It was not, because anyways, those quarterly checks, I'm just thankful for them, but they don't pay the bills, because I haven't gotten a single track, like a single, you know what anyways, you got it. So it's like I had a day job. So like I thought all of those things were trajectories, but I don't think I ever saw myself as being able to make a living off of astrology videos on the internet. Like that, I never expected that. So like all of that became like a catalyst to, not to say my music wouldn't be impactful, because if when I get the budget to create the projects I would like to, I am still going to be kind of in that, you know, Beyonce, Lemonade, Janelle Monáe, I can't even think of the project. These projects that do speak to like healing and transformation. I'm always going to be that girl, no matter what the format is, right? But I just never thought that I would just be able to open a camera and tell people about my life and that make a difference and be able to pay my bills. Like I'm not, you know, on a beach somewhere. I'm not living in New York City. I'm not in LA, at least not at this point in my career. But, you know, I'm making it, you know, so I never thought that would lead to that. So the book is like, this is how I transmute it. So it's like I have all this other stuff. YouTube, trying to build there, because my work has been on YouTube. My TikToks have been on YouTube without my permission for a bit anyways, and as I'm expanding, as more people get exposed to me, my work, and, you know, have the opportunity to learn about Patreon in this page, it's like, how do I make this valuable? Whether it's me teaching the things that I talked about in that book, like what do you do with trauma? How do you heal it? How do you embrace it? How do you move through it? How do you get through these difficult relationships? Because it was the abusive relationship, but then after that, because of what was happening in my brain as a survivor, so now I'm in like flight or fight mode all the time. I have PTSD. And then like you do take your time to yourself, you go through therapy, and then but there's a point where you have to start dating again, because if you don't start dating again, you don't like actively move through the trauma, because there's certain things you can't heal until you date again, and like that's its own mind fuck in and of itself. And so it's like I don't always know if I tell these stories, if I teach those things on Patreon, if that feels like, you know, that's worth the $10 or the $11 that you pay every month. You know what I mean? Like, I know I'm not Netflix or Hulu, all these other places where you get thousands of pieces of content for $10. And so I'm not trying to compete with them, but I do know like your $10 or $11 is valuable to you. That's a meal, especially, hello, I'm an entrepreneur who pays all their own insurance, taxes, and you know, like a lot of months, I'm just making it. Like my biggest month ever was in January, and I was like, cool. But because the universe is so wonderful and knows more than I am capable of receiving at any one time, what it knew was that like by the end of February and through March, it would be quiet. So it didn't end up just being like surplus. It's just I needed that money. Like I needed to float myself that money for a smaller month, you know. All of that to say, it's like I get it, which is why I think I care a lot about making sure that like, does this resonate? Is this helpful? Can we do more with the one-on-one coaching? Also, I don't know if it was that nobody was interested in an office hour or something went wrong, but if you booked an office hour, I didn't get a request for it. So like, sorry if somebody was expecting that and you had it on the calendar, but I'm like, okay, office hours are quiet. How can I be helpful? You know, so it's like I do want to talk about things I'm passionate about. I love astrology. I love teaching people how to use their chart because yes, I work with ancestors, but I think the combination of ancestor work, personal ambition, hard work, and living in the real world and learning how to build a business, plus using astrology very strategically, has allowed me to live the life that I live, and I'm so grateful for it. You know, like it's New York would be amazing, but I'm so happy in this space. LA would be amazing, but I'm happy, I'm secure. And after what happened to me in 2019, there was a point where I was like, I don't know if I'll ever feel happy and secure again. And here I am, right? So like I'm good, and you know, and so like what how can I add value and still be true to me? Because also that's another issue with astrology, is that you become like a talking head. And so like, so the more people I reach, the more abusive people become. Like my first YouTube video, I think I talked about myself in the first 5 minutes, and then I was talking about myself throughout the reading itself, and people were like, oh my god, this one woman was like, get the f over yourself, just get to the reading. And it feels that is like the general energy of astrology communities. Like they don't care about you as a human being. You have information that they want, and since you presented it, you need to get to the point. And it's hard because like the videos that attract that are the ones that get the most airtime. Those are the ones that hit like 500,000. But that feels really like nasty to me. Like I don't want to feel that way. There was even like a patron, I don't know, I hope they're gone at this point, but like if you're still here, you know what you did. There's even a patron that signed up 1 month who was like, I pay all this money to you and blah 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 blah, like really place that, whatever you would call that, feedback, which it's again content requests, questions. Most of you know, if you ask me something, or if you're looking for something, or if you're wondering about something, I don't have a problem with that. I love talking to y'all. I love hearing your feedback. Let's talk. But the energy was very much like, Kady, why aren't you Amazon? And like when people do that to me, and it becomes clear that like my personal happiness, joy, humanity does not matter to the people I give astrology to, then I don't want to do it at all. That's when I get into that space where I'm like, I'm not making astrology videos for the next week, because it feels nasty. It feels weird. It's like I want to be helpful, but I don't want to be a tool. And the balance is difficult. And so all of that to say, I want to make content where I get to be a human being, where I'm excited to make the content, tell the stories, teach the things. Like my heart, like when I learn something cool and I know it's going to be great for people, my heart, right? But like, I also want it to be valuable for you guys. Like, is it helpful? Is it meaningful? But I would also like it if you liked me as a human being. So I'm looking for. So here are the things, right? I love astrology. We're gonna keep talking about astrology, right? So like we can do that, and then I can talk about like trauma healing with the disclaimer that I'm not a therapist, I'm not a licensed psychologist, like none of that, none of that. But I'm just a human being who has survived a lot of things, and I've learned some things along the way. Some of them were coping mechanisms that were bad. Some of them were, if you can give me that disclaimer, if you can understand that, I can make content about that. I can make content about my manifestation practices, some of the things that we go into in this new book. I'm willing to do some coaching. We can treat this space like a personal coaching space. Right now, there's 50, 60 people, under 100, and then my full-time job is content, and I film, edit, upload. And when I don't have these personal readings, the time is there, guys. We can do some personal coaching. And like at some point that might be tiered, but right now tiers stress me out, because then there's like, okay, now I gotta post to Instagram, and I gotta post to TikTok, and then I gotta make stuff for YouTube, then I gotta make stuff for Patreon. But now it's like 2 different sets. It's too much for me, my ADHD brain. I'm strapped, and then on top of readings, I'm like, it's too much. I'm so sorry. I can't do that. So right now, what you're gonna benefit from the fact is that like I'm gonna offer different things to create value, and it's all going to be one price. And maybe one day when I can manage tiers, that could change. So if future people are like, why did I used to have access to this and now I don't? Because like, well, now I have a better grip on my time, and I understand the value of certain things, and I can't afford to offer it for that low. But if I can offer it that low forever, I'm real. I'm trying to be in that IJ bag where like everybody just pays one price forever for everything. But I'm not there yet. I'm an entrepreneur living in, yep. So you got to get the money more, right? Which is why I'm on YouTube now. So like whatever I can teach you, whether it's crystal work or manifestation or just stories about how I've managed relationships and healed things and transformed, it's all up for grabs if I've talked about it publicly. It's cool. So let me know what makes sense to you, what's cool. It doesn't have to be in the comment section. You can just hit me up wherever. I will say that if you DM me on Instagram, it's either hit or miss. I don't really look at the requests too much because people are kind of crazy, bro. And like even people who are like I posted a video about like I've been withstanding from like sexual activity because a lot of men have been acting sociopathically when it comes to these casual relationships. People are like sending me hate mail about being a human being, like women are people. Like that's the statement, and people are mad. So I don't always go in the DM requests I don't. But if I see you there, we can talk there. But always utilize this platform to talk, because it will send me email. It'll come to my email box, and now I have it to where they're not hidden, because they were hidden. But okay, there's that. Actual astrology. Okay, finally, right? So we know we have this new moon coming up, right? So like next Friday is this new moon in Aries, which is pretty cool because Aries is the leader of the zodiac. It represents innovation, aggression, sometimes flighty energy, untrustworthy. But without Aries energy, we would not have really any of the advanced technology we have in this world. And so when we're coming into, oh my God, right, done, it's Aries season. Oh, a new moon in the same sign as the sun. That is, yes, duh, right? Because that's what a new moon is. It's conjunct the sun. But like they both just entered. So let me be excited. There's so much, the beginning of cycles, new beginnings, new energy, like things that you have put down before and did not get a chance to come back to. Like now is the time to initiate it. Plant seeds, plant seeds every new moon cycle, but plant those seeds, babies. See, that's also what I mean. Like me giving you I can go through every sign where it is in your chart. I can. I'll do it. But like the thesis is new beginnings, no matter what, right? Because like Aries for me, depending on if you're looking at Placidus or whole sign, is either my first blah 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 blah. Yeah, no, it's my first house. It's either my first house or it's my second house, right? So visibility or money, which come on God, make it rain. Your girl has been wearing the sweatshirt since 2007, 18. It's a nice sweatshirt, but also make it rain. So first house or second house for visibility, money, finances, assets. But, you know, what I kind of been talking about on TikTok is I kind of got a new relationship. And, you know, as far as the sun and the moon goes, my relationship house isn't really being impacted. I mean, honestly, if you're looking at the 10 planetary bodies that astrology tends to like read from or call, nothing's in my seventh house. Not a thing, not a thing. And I don't, nope, nothing's in my fifth house because fifth house is casual day. Nothing. But it's a new beginning. It's a new season. This is me. I closed out some cycles very intentionally with my meditative manifestation, blah, 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 all the practices I talked about in the first half of this video. And now I'm like, I'm opening up new beginnings, new cycles. So it's like, it doesn't matter whether you're interested in love, a career, traveling, whatever you've really been wanting, whatever you've really been putting yourself into, my sweet babies, it's time. This is the beginning. This is the beginning. You're going to feel that energy, feel compelled to really be able to put down some strong roots right now. So like, and this week between the actual new moon, which again I'll have some more resources for you the week of, and while we're already in like this pre-new moon era, so like things are waning. So if we look at spiritual practices or maybe even like the energy of this portion of the 28-day moon cycle, remember I told you guys a long time ago to start journaling and adding the cycle, the phase of the moon and the sign of the moon to the dates so that you can see what the moon days mean for you, because you will notice a pattern. Like my life consistently on a 28-day cycle, Libra moon days are the same for me. When I look back at my journal, Libra, that's my word, right? Scorpio moons are the same for me. Aries moons, you'll notice that if you journal it. But while we're in this little phase of the moon, regardless of how it personally affects you, the collective energy is that things are decreasing. So this is a good time that's why the full moon's for release work, because it's, you know, things are going away. So things you want to send away from you, close things out. The moon is, you know, the energy, the light, it's going down, it's decreasing, it's waning. So it's a good time to let go of things, throw things out that hold old memories, old mindsets, old energy. Close it out, finish difficult conversations, finish difficult tasks, come into an awareness of who you are, what you want for yourself, how you want to be seen, and close out old behaviors, old traits. Close it out, let it go. The energy of this moment is helping you to accomplish that. Right now, especially right now, the moon today is Friday, March the 25th. The moon is in Capricorn, order systems, restriction. So this is a good time, like, what do I want? What is order for me? What's, you know, where am I? How am I resonating? And Venus is in Aquarius, collective energy. How do I want to show up in this world? How does the way that I create commerce, income, generate what I need to survive? Because, you know, capitalism is what it is. This is the structure we exist under. I'm not with you have to be bare. No, baby, you need to survive. Your obligation is to you surviving. That's what you need to do, what you need to do to survive. We try to create as little harm as possible, but we need to survive, okay? So it's like but Venus and Aquarius, how I create survival, store shed, abundance for myself. How does that measure up in the collective world? Is there good that I can do from that, whether it's donating things or contributing my time or contributing whatever? So it's like there's this energy of that where we're trying to fill out how to like really contribute to the world right now. Our eyes are centered on what's happening in the world. Impact, 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 impact. Especially now that Mars is also in Aquarius, action, initiation, which is the ruler of Aries. So the ruler of the sun right now and the ruler of this new moon is in Aquarius. Collective energy thing. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna outline where this is in your houses, because I want you to take a look, okay, to see what themes that the ruler of the season might be like creating for you. So like there's all this energy of collective work, wanting a deep-seated need for meaning in this world, while also brazing your path, because innovation, beginnings, entrepreneurship. Also Mars, again, the ruler of the season, is action, getting things done, power, next to Venus, which is money, I always say money first, money, finances, assets, also relationships. So maybe that's part of anyways. Do you see what I mean, though? Do you see what I mean? So like that's the energy of this moment, and Jupiter's still in Pisces. So Jupiter's here to help you. It's here to soften the blows of Uranus still hanging out in Taurus. If you're newer here and you haven't searched my older work, Uranus is currently in Taurus. Uranus is all about spontaneous and random, unexpected pops of things, shocks, the dismantling of systems, but shocking buildings up for progression as well. And it's in the sign of Taurus, which rules over money. So this is also what's happening with my business right now, is that there's going to be pops, because remember Taurus is like my second house in Placidus. There's pops of, woo, here's all this money, here's this income, and then it's like, haha, now it's gone, or now it's not gone. Now it's like at a stasis, and it's really like a period of just recovering and thinking. I think that's why I have the space to go, okay, Kady, what do you want to do? Kady, what makes you happy? And I think that's part of, sorry, but like if I might wax poetic again, I think that's part of it, that God and ancestors, I believe in a being higher than me. It's not necessarily like the Christian ideal of God, but I believe in God and the source of, if you might allow me. So I think God is just like, baby, we've done a lot of work in this last year, and you've come a long way, and you're healthy. Because remember, guys, I was like in and out of the hospital in November and December. You're healthy. You've let go of all relationship dynamics. You have manifested and created a reality that is safe, and you feel good, and you are appreciated. You have an audience that adores you. You're building your public image. I did some radio shows. I got some publications. Like you're good, Kady. You're good. But are you finding meaning? Like, do you want to do the meme astrology? Do you want to do the horoscopes? Do you like this? Is this good? So it's like a pause. Okay, like we're gonna pause this influx of demand and requests that have to do with all these little different types of astrology. Do you want to do this? Are you happy? And so like whenever, and I do want to encourage you guys, if you're ever in the space where you're like, everything was going so good, my business was doing so well, I was generating all this income, blah, 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 or whatever it is that you do, I was getting all these projects at work, and then now it's like a desert. Instead of going into that place that's so easy where you're like scared and you're anxious and you're afraid and you're worried, which are all valid feelings, because again, we live in a society where money matters, and money can be the difference of this piece of paper, and it's not even paper anymore, it's just like digital numbers on a screen. Just digital numbers on a screen can determine whether we eat, have a home, security. And it's don't let these so-and-so spiritual girls make you feel like you are shallow or just focusing on the wrong thing because you care about making money, or you have fear associated with the money that you make. Don't. I feel you. No, we live here. The whole idea about raising vibration and pulling in, attracting things, is that it's coming back to this remembering that it's just digital things, it's just paper, and the vibration, you are greater than all of that. You know what I'm saying? You are, that is, you and the universe are one. The whole concept of astrology is that the planets are a model of the human form, and so as humans create and repeat patterns, the universe creates a map for what we did in what we do. And so because these things were tracked over centuries, we now are able to go look at it at a chart and go, hey, this is what this transit means. It's not that astrology is controlling your life. It's that astrology is like, it's a blueprint. It's showing you where we've been. Here's where we've been. Okay. And so that is valid if you are anxious, right? But I would encourage you to take this moment. Please take this moment and ask yourself the questions that you would have the privilege of asking yourself if you never had to worry about making money ever again. Because technically, if we take out the fact that we know we need shelter, you don't need to make money. Like, you need to breathe, you need to drink water, and so you could be in a society in another life where you didn't need to make money. So think about it like that. We need money because of the circumstances under which we live. But hear me out. Ask yourself those questions. What makes me happy? I have the pause to think about it, because also one of the most beautiful pieces of advice I ever read by a content creator named Kaya, Kaya, Nova, Nova, who I have the privilege of calling a former classmate. She went to Berklee with me. She wrote that she realized that everything that gives her anxiety, everything that she was afraid of, is in the future. And so this meditation on the future was interrupting her peace and her health in this moment. And I was like, wow, that's true. Because like, even let's say today's the 25th, let's say you don't have rent money for the 1st. That's scary, but it's still in the future. And what I love is every day is a game changer. I don't mean to get emotional, but my whole life has been a testimony to that. Every single day is a game changer, guys. You never know what's coming. And if you can let yourself, you can recognize that it's scary. This is scary. This is real. This is real. This is scary. This is what's going to happen. And acknowledge it without feeling it. And this is kind of what I talked about in the book, in the chapter called Releasing. This is just the facts. I don't have the money in this moment. The money will be due. When the money is due, there will be consequences. And it doesn't have to be scary to the point where you lean in and you live in that moment. You're just, okay, here are the facts. So what are my options? So if you can live in the space where you can acknowledge and detach, this is also a good promotion for what it would look like if I taught things other than astrology. But if you can live there, and ask your question, am I happy? If not, why? What is the absence of happiness, or what is creating that absence? Or is it the absence of something else that is blocking my natural energy, life maintaining source of happiness? What's the block, or what's in the way, or what's missing? Ask those questions and just keep going down a line. In fact, I think I'm gonna copy paste this portion of the book, because I really just want you to read that, okay? Because I think that was me. I'm like, I don't know. It's like I do want to keep making astrology. So it's not astrology content's not making me unhappy, but I'm feeling all this pressure, and I'm feeling sad, and I'm feeling invalidated and unseen, and not unappreciated, because for every one dumb fuck, I might post this to YouTube later because it's kind of like a vlog and nice, but might have to edit that out. But for every idiot that has something nasty and mean and dehumanizing to say to me, there are hundreds of other people who say, thank you, I appreciate what you're offering. This is a service. So it's not that I don't feel appreciated, but it does kind of, people don't define me. I turn off my phone. I'm here. I'm in vibration. I have a support system in real life. But it does feel a little belittling sometimes, because it's I think my content is cool, and I want you to think it's cool, but I want you to also, I don't want you to forget that I'm a human being. If you cut me, I bleed. And if my health goes weird again and I have to go to the hospital, I don't want to feel like people are going to throw me away because I had to go be human. If I'm sad, or I'm dealing with depression, because I've had major depressive disorder officially diagnosed since I was 18. Anxiety disorder, that's really when they did the testing, like a point or two from OCD, so it can get really bad. I've had that since I was 12 officially. So it's like I have things that come up, and I just don't want to feel like the minute that I need to be a human being that I get thrown away, because that, I think that's what happens when people are like, shut up, stop talking about yourself and just get to the reading. I'm like, I do this because it's fun, I enjoy it, and when I share things with you, it's not to be narcissistic or center on myself. It's because I think I'm trying to convey to you the importance of whatever I'm talking about. It's relevant for sure. If you would hear me, it's relevant. I know I was raised by two preachers. I teach in parables. I'm a writer. I teach through storytelling, and so that's what's happening, whether those people connect with it or not, because a lot of times those people aren't going to get what they think they need to get out of the horoscope reading or whatever it is, if that's their attitude. But like, it does kind of feel like, dang, I was trying to show you something through telling you, or I was just excited because digital communities are so popular now that they are actual communities, and here we are together holding space. I'm so grateful for you. And that was the response. It can't feel bad. It's like, do you remember childhood? It's like going to school every day as a kid and being excited, and you're in this class of people, and then you go up to talk to the class, and then nobody cares what you're saying, and it's like, it's fine, but like, it's kind of sad. Or when you're at those dinners and you say something and nobody acknowledges it and they talk over, it's kind of like that. So it's like, it keeps happening. So it's not that it makes me super sad, but it can be invalidating, and it kind of makes me not want to grow as a content creator, because I'm like, I don't want more people to find me, because I don't want more of that. But like, this new person I'm dating who's really wonderful, the Leo Mars, from all the Leo Mars Cancer Venus joke TikToks, he has been very encouraging. Like, you're always going to get that. There's no growth without it. People talk shit about Beyonce, man. And maybe at some point I'll get to the point where I'm successful enough to where I can hire a community manager, so that I don't have to read every single thing just to talk to the people that are worth me responding to. So all of that, I'm so sorry. But hopefully you understand that the deep storytelling about myself in this video, it ties into this energy of the moment. So like, we're just in the space. If you're feeling like your finances are blocked, it's probably, there's a way to view it as, this is a good pause to figure out what I want. And Saturn is in Aquarius too, right next. Venus is like zooming. So Venus is zooming through Aquarius, heading towards Pisces, and it's getting really close. In fact, the map is behind you. It's not quite conjunct yet, but it's about to be conjunct Saturn, and that might feel really difficult for a lot of the collective. So it's an astrological influence for sure, but remember, as above, so below, and all the things that you have the power to call to being with your mind and your intention. So that's where manifestation and spirituality can come in and kind of like give you a little blanket of security when it comes to astrological things. I'm like, astrology be damned. Astrology be damned. I'm gonna make money today. I don't care what's happening in my second house. Astrology be damned. I'm gonna be a millionaire this year. I don't care what astrology says. Speak it, feel it, manifest it. Because also, it's not just like metaphysical, fake pseudoscience. As somebody who was a child athlete, I definitely noticed that whenever I could envision in my head making the goal, I was a forward and midfielder in soccer. I made every single shot that I could visualize first. I missed every single shot that I did not see in my head, every single one. And they talk about this a lot in athleticism. So there's something about seeing something, connecting with it, being very clear on it. Because also, it's not like when you're an athlete, and I use this example because I think when people are visualizing, when it comes to manifestation, there's all this attachment of energy, of feeling. There's so much feeling in it, which again we talk about in the releasing chapter of our manifestation book. And like, when you're an athlete and you're watching the shot happen in your head, I don't feel excited, afraid, intimidated. I don't feel anything. I just see it happen. I just see it. I'm just watching it happen, like I'm watching a film or watching a train go by. And then my body goes into action and it replicates it. And I think it's a manifestation is that. I think that's that's the actual science of it, the psychology. I don't have the language for it because, like I said, I'm not a psychologist or any of that. But there's something to be said about seeing something in your head, visualizing it, accepting it, it becoming a part, normalizing it. There's something about it. And so it's like, if you can bring those things in with the astrology, I think you'll be okay. If you can bring those things in with everyday matters, like I am doing the accounting, I am financially responsible, I am like doing my best to practice psychology and therapy practices that increase my joy. You know what I mean? Like, because like I said, I had to go to counseling for PTSD. I did. I needed professional help to accomplish certain things. There was a lot of spiritual work. You know what I mean? There were spiritual baths. There were spiritual rituals, even like some astrological rituals that are spiritual. I did those, but I also went to a doctor. And so it's like, if you can bring all of those things together, they become really powerful and potent in creating just a beautiful life, okay? So that's my spiel. That's the astro weather report in my vlog about all the things that I'm feeling so much, guys. I didn't cry. I'm so proud of me. But I'm also just so proud of me, guys. I can't, it's been a long 2 years. And then even before that, you know, like I talked about a bit in the time shifting videos, that I was hospitalized for a mental break and not wanting to be on earth anymore in 2017. And that was so hard because I kind of lost everybody who was a really big part of my life at that time. And I won't go too far into that story because this video is already so long, but a lot of people, there was this little rumor that got out that I did it for attention. And so people were mad, like, you faked it or you did that and you're shallow. Why would you do that? We were really scared. And I thought the things they said were valid back then, but even looking back as a more emotionally mature person, I'm like, if I felt compelled to harm myself for attention, think about that. That's a person who's actually not okay, guys. So even if that was my intent, that is a person who needs help and love and patience. And so I just say all that to say that this has all been a really long journey that I feel like that started in 2017 to get to a place where I feel every day I can wake up and I'm not scared, I'm not depressed, I'm not anxious, not if I'm like actively taking care of my disorders. Because again, when you have a disorder, that is depression, anxiety, these things can occur without situations, right? You get it. But like I wake up in the morning and I feel safe. I don't feel scared. There's not a narcissistic family member who's going to make me feel bad about myself or put pressure on me. And if they try to via the phone, I can block them or turn the phone off. And I feel like for the first time in my life, I'm in a place where everything is just okay. And I know things are okay. I know it's okay. I know that I'm okay. And because I know that now, I feel like I can do anything. I feel like I can be anybody, accomplish anything. Because there was a time where I used to wake up and I was actively battling depression, actively combating anxiety, PTSD, actively afraid of somebody in my community creating harm, so scared, not knowing what was going to happen that day, just this fear of the unknown. And now the unknown is so exciting. Anything could happen. Oh my God, anything could happen. Today could be the day. Today could be the day. And patrons, if you see this on YouTube, it's just because my heart is so full and I wanted to share this. I'll make sure that the exclusive part of this is what I write in the post so that it's still valuable for you. But also, me and you are gonna talk, right? Because you're gonna DM me and say, Kady, here's what I find valuable. Here's what I'm willing to pay $10 a month for. Here's what I think you could teach me based on what I've observed. Because that was the whole point, was that I love astrology, but there's so much we can talk about in this space. And I so want to talk about all of those things. And I so don't want to feel like I have to create memes and quick zodiac reports that are so shallow that they don't make a difference. We can do those things. Those are fun. Those are so funny. That's the whole reason I did them. They're fun. And if I can quickly, in 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 1 minute, make you feel good and give you a sense of purpose, a hit of dopamine, I don't mind that either. That's what's like, horoscopes aren't the problem. It's that when I get into these tight holds of, I feel like I can only do it and I can't talk about transit activations or how to use your natal chart to go viral or how to use it to make money. I'm trying to tell you something that I did, guys. That's all. Just trying to tell you what I did because it could probably help you, especially if you're a patron. So I love you guys so much. Thank you to all the people who value me as a human being, but also thank you to the people who value my intellect as a Virgo stellium in the 6th house, which is ruled by Virgo. I love people thinking that I'm smart. I love being a helper. It used to feed into my codependency issues, which brought me a lot of problems in my life. But now I can just, every time I feel a little codependency tendency to people please and serve people to be like, I can just get on Patreon and or create a new type of natal chart reading, which also I'm now doing natal chart scours, which basically means I can answer any question without it being a certain format of reading. Okay, so I love that. I need that to a degree to be able to express that in that way. So I don't mind being of service. It's just I want to be of service, and people will be like, "This is not a pearl." That's a Steven Universe reference because pearls were servants. It's not a pearl. This is a girl who lives and breathes and sometimes with like validation and love and all of that. Okay, all right, I'm gonna go now. I hope that even though I included things about myself and I talked a lot about my feelings and my experiences, that whether you're watching this on Patreon or YouTube, that this was valuable and that you still felt like you learned something. Okay, besties, I really do love you guys. Because when I was still in a holding pattern where I was afraid to go outside, it was my friends on the internet that made me feel like I said I wasn't going to cry. Here I am. It was my friends on the internet, my fans, my supporters that made me feel like there was something to work through the PTSD and fear of going outside for. There's people out there who are wonderful and nice in that could be really amazing community members, and now I have community again. Like I was talking about in a video, I was like, I know the name of the lady who checks me out at the grocery store. I know what neighborhood she lives in, and the guy, I've gone through his line too. I know about their lives. I'm talking to everybody all the time now because community is just so nice, and it's the best way to not feel lonely. And now I know like 90% of the people who live in my building. In fact, I have plans to go to dinner with a few of them tonight. Communities and love and family structures are everywhere. And before, when I was moving through the PTSD and I was afraid of outside, there's some really nice people on the internet who actually, they are people who make up the general population. So I have something to work towards moving through this bad day of therapy and exposure work and things that I'm pressing for. It's worth it because on the other side of this really difficult moment is outside, and out there are people who are willing to love me. So I appreciate each of you, whether you're just a viewer or you're a subscriber or you're paying patron on Patreon, wherever you may find. If you watch on TikTok, follow on Instagram, I appreciate you because digital communities matter. So thank you for being a part of mine in some capacity, in some way, however you're seeing this. I love you and I appreciate you guys so much. Patrons, you know what to do. Let me know where are we going. April is in 7 days. It's 7 days from now. What am I offering you? What content do you want to see? What's meaningful? What makes you feel valued? What makes you feel like you're learning something here, okay? If YouTube subscribers, you can contribute that too. Okay? Okay. Love you guys.